What does gentleness look like? What's controlled strength look like? Let's look at it practically. Jesus gives us his example. First of all, in leading, gentle leading means you serve as opposed to trying to control from above. Somebody has said, gentle leadership is not the power to command, but the courage to serve. Jesus walks into this room, sees a bunch of dirty feet, smells a bunch of dirty feet, and he could have raged. How would you have responded? I don't know that I would have been particularly patient. He could have said, really? Nobody could take the time to wash feet? He could have said, have I been with you for so long and I've been talking to you about serving and nobody is serving? He could have said, I'm the leader. Would you just do what I tell you to do? But he doesn't. Without a word, he volunteers. He just picks up a towel and basin and leads by washing. Somebody said that leadership, a military general one time said, leadership is getting people to do what they don't want to do. I don't think that's Jesus' definition of leadership. Leadership may be getting people to do what they don't want to do, but it's by showing them the way, by washing feet, by being an example, by serving like Jesus. If you have to rely on command and control, heavy-handedness, just to guarantee you're not being gentle and you're not leading. I'll never forget the story Dick Alexander told years ago about a youth minister who was having a hard time leading his youth group. They were at a convention, he was trying to corral them, and he got really frustrated they weren't listening to him, and so finally, in exasperation, he yelled, he said, listen, I'm in control here. Dick Alexander thought, there was one thing I knew at that point. He was not in charge there, What is it that John Maxwell said? He who thinketh he leadeth and hath nobody following is only taking a walk. Leadership is built on trust. Leadership is much more than just giving commands. It's picking up a towel and basin and serving. Ken Blanchard had a really popular leadership book back in the 80s and 90s called The 1 Minute Manager. Some of you may remember that. Ken Blanchard, and basically it was about how to lead, how to get people to do what they don't want to do, using tactics, using strategy, using the way that you treat them. But he said he knew something was missing. And he discovered what something was missing once he became a follower of Jesus Christ. He said, when he came to understand Jesus, he realized that Jesus is the greatest leadership, gave us the greatest leadership model of all time. He called the gold standard for effective leadership what happens in John 13. Jesus washing the disciples' feet, laying down power to serve. He said, the moment I turned my life over to Christ, everything changed. I realized leadership wasn't about me. It was about serving others. He wrote a book called Lead Like Jesus that really was a lot about gentleness. He said, great leadership is not a tactic. It's a lifestyle grounded in humility, purpose, and graciousness. Effective leadership begins with the heart, who you are, moves to the head, what you believe, and then to the hands, what you do. Power, therefore, he said, is not abandoned, but surrendered to God, used for the flourishing of others. Isn't that good? That's gentleness. It is power not abandoned, but surrendered to God to serve him and to serve others so they can flourish. Blessed are the gentle, Jesus said. Do you have the power? Do you have the courage to serve? You're going to be placed in a situation like that this week where the choice is going to be, are you going to wash? Are you going to be the one who stands up when nobody else is washing feet? You're going to be the one who washes feet. I was talking to a friend of mine who is an Air Force colonel recently. Some of you have met him. He's a chaplain. And he was telling, I don't understand how things work in the military, but some of you will understand. Well, he said assignments were being given out several months ago in this room that he was in. And he said the assignment came up, somebody needs to go to Kuwait and be separated from their family. And he said he quickly read the room, and it became really clear nobody wanted to volunteer for that. Nobody wanted to do that. And so what was probably going to happen was that somebody who didn't want to do it was just going to be given the assignment to do. And so he thought to himself, my kids are grown, my wife and I have been through this before. And so he said, I just went ahead and volunteered before somebody else was forced to do it. That's gentleness. Raising your hand, saying, I'll take the lead. I'll serve. I'll make the sacrifice. This week, you're going to face a decision like that. Although it may not be that dramatic, will you raise your hand? Who's going to coach? Who's going to be the team mom? Who's going to hold babies? Somebody's moving. They need. Who's going to raise their hand? Say, I'll help them move. I'll provide a meal. The dishes need washed. The lawn needs mowed. Who's going to change? Who's going to raise their hand and say, I'll change the baby's diaper first. I'll do it. That's what gentleness looks like in leadership. Thomas Carlyle, the Scottish philosopher, said, our grand business is not to see what lies dimly in the distant, but to do what lies clearly at hand. Leaders serve. Gentle leaders serve first.